Very disappointed with myself. I feel like I let him down somewhere. I'm very aware, and I do know that Robert did smoke weed. I do know he would eat edibles. But yet I just trusted him in my mind, thinking that's where he would stop. And I was clearly wrong. I mean, clearly wrong. I missed the mark.
I just got the news of Mary Cosby's son from Real Housewives of Salt Lake City about Robert Jr. passing away. And I literally had to stop myself from breaking out into tears.
It's honestly incredibly heartbreaking what Mary Cosby is going through right now after losing her son. But the cause of his untimely passing is far more complicated than you know. It seems that Mary is finally revealing what she believes happened to Robert in his final days. Robert passed from a suspected overdose. The thing is, Mary was willing to check her son into rehab and even have him remain in prison as long as it could help him manage his substance abuse. Now she's pointing fingers at the one person she believes actively assisted in his relapse and ultimate downfall, his ex-wife, Alexa Smokeoff.
When you have a relationship with your son and you want to give him the world, you want him to have a better life than you did, you know? I picked up and moved to New York for 8 years so that he can have the best education. He could be in a diverse atmosphere so he wouldn't be raised like I was raised. I was the only one in my class that was African American. They would play slave movies and the whole class would turn around and look at me. And I do blame myself. I feel like somewhere I missed the mark on.
And if there's one thing we all know about Mary Cosby from her time on The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, it's how much she loved her son. Robert Cosby Jr., she often talked about how she had him after 4 years of trying and how he wasn't merely her son, but truly her best friend. So when the news broke that he had died at just 23 years old, Mary's world was essentially devastated and forever changed in the blink of an eye. A spokesperson from Mary and her husband, Robert Cosby Sr.'s team, released a statement saying, "Our beloved son, Robert Jr., has been called home to the Lord. Though our hearts ache, we take comfort in God's promise and in knowing that he is finally at peace. We are grateful for your prayers and trust in the Lord to carry us through this time of sorrow." Fellow castmates from the Salt Lake City franchise have also reached out to Mary, both publicly and privately, with expressions of condolences, support, and promises to be available should she need them during her time of bereavement. And as much as this news has stunned many of us into silence for Mary, there are some things about her son's passing that don't quite add up and are giving her cause for pause. Salt Lake City police confirmed that when they were initially dispatched to Mary's home in response to an overdose call, they found him already deceased at the scene. The truth is, Rob had been very transparent about his struggles with substances such as cocaine, Xanax, and Molly from around the time he turned 16. Initially, he indulged recreationally, but after he dropped out of school, it quickly became a habit that he was no longer in control of. Mary later mentioned that she hadn't realized what her son was dealing with until she noticed he had become more withdrawn and isolated than usual, prompting her to investigate.
I love you more than anything. More than anything in this world. I think I love you more than Dad. Like, don't ever tell Dad I said that.
Oh.
But you're my friend. You're my son. You're my gift. God gave you to me. You're the only thing that ever made me happy. Before I had you, I was never happy. You came and you were so real. You was everything I hoped for in a person.
As soon as she found out, Mary swung into action immediately. She addressed his addiction head-on, and Rob checked into rehab. After Rob was arrested, Mary even mentioned that it was better for him to remain in jail, where she knew he wasn't using or at risk of engaging in anything harmful to himself the way he might have been if he were unsupervised at home. While Mary was doing everything possible to save her son, there was one person who never fully left the picture: Robert Cosby Jr.'s wife, Alexander Smokeoff. Robert and Alexia's relationship had significant history. They began dating in high school, around the same time Rob got hooked on substances. What started out as casual partying and hanging out eventually became routine. As they got older, substance abuse became a major part of their bond and relationship. They shared numerous posts online where they appeared to be taking pills or posing with prescription bottles of cough syrup, often accompanied by mixers such as Sprite or other clear, carbonated beverages. By the time they got married in 2022, much of the damage had already been done. Mary didn't even realize Alexa and Robert had gotten married until police showed up at her Utah mansion, accusing her of harboring a minor. That was when Mary fully caught on to what was happening and made it clear to both of them that she was not going to tolerate it.
You look cute.
Hi.
What's going on? When's the last time you picked up?
Probably like an hour ago.
Oh, you straightened up an hour ago?
Yeah, just recently.
And did you drink out of that bottle an hour ago?
Yeah.
After Rob was separated from Alexander through therapy and their divorce, his condition improved. He gained weight, became more present, and showed clear signs of progress. But one thing Mary noticed was that every time Alexa re-entered his life, that progress didn't last long. And that wasn't a coincidence. Robert had already told his mom that his biggest struggle was distancing himself from friends who were also using, especially when they began relapsing. One of the people he found hardest to stay away from was his ex-wife.
All the people that I was like cool with, they all relapsed.
Sources close to the situation mentioned that even after the marriage ended, Alexandra still had direct access to Robert, so the closeness and familiarity never truly went away. But that's not all. Some of Rob's worst relapses reportedly happened shortly after reconnecting with Alexandra. Moments when he should have been focused solely on recovery instead became periods of complete chaos. Whenever he stopped communicating with his ex-wife, Rob would reportedly regress heavily and begin acting out again. It even got to the point where he was arrested for going to her family's home because he believed she needed him to rescue her. Mary believes that, apart from his addiction, Robert's struggles within his marriage also contributed to his passing. She can't help but wonder if he would still be here had he never met Alexandra. Sources close to Mary report that she is completely broken and wishes she could have done more to protect him from what she sees as enabling influences, including Alexandra. Given everything Mary is going through right now, many people are heartbroken for her and simply want to show their support. Some have expressed their sympathy by saying, "Say what you want about Mary Cosby, but you can tell she loved her son deeply. She poured so much of herself into him and truly wanted the best for his life." Anyone familiar with what Mary has endured throughout her life knows that Robert Jr. was her only child and her light in the darkness. Losing her only son at 23 years old is beyond devastating. It's hard to imagine what she must be going through. He was her only child, and she considered him one of her best friends. What do you think about this tragedy? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.